Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the PowerWomen podcast.
This is a show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss powerful issues, and the men and women who help us rise.
And we are your hosts with three very different backgrounds and very different perspectives. I'm Brandy Jo Newman.
I'm Gayatri Agnew.
And I'm your power mom, Claire Brown. Hey, y'all. Hey, we're all three back.
Hooray!
Are we sure it's Dr. Pepper? Are we sure you're chugging Dr. Pepper, Brandy Jo?
Zero
Is that what we're
judgment. Zero judgment.
We don't even have to say what it is or what time of day it is.
We don't need to start over.
We don't need to start over. We're good.
No.
So,
do you want to hear my funny story?
And
about
there
why
is
I was
only
late?
Dr. Pepper in there, pure cane sugar, all the things. So we're good there.
fabulous. So,
Hi, Gayatri.
I want to hear why
How
you're
was your
late.
Italian trip?
Oh, well, my Italian adventure was fantastic.
Thank you for sharing the
Absolutely
photos.
epic. You're welcome. I secured us some podcast guests, one who is gifted at helping people, but particularly women, manifest their dreams.
Ooh.
So we're going to
Okay.
bring her on the podcast. She's brilliant.
Can I give her
It's
a
a real
list of
thing,
dreams?
manifesting
She
your
just
dreams.
make them happen. It says she's like a fairy godmother.
No,
I love that.
She is like a fairy godmother. She can't make them happen. She can help you understand how you can make them happen.
Yeah, I still want to call her fairy godmother. I don't care.
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Yes, that's
That'll
her new
be the
name.
podcast title. I'll inform her.
Have y'all tried
so why
manifesting?
I was late?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I've manifested
I guess I
everything
have.
in my life.
I mean,
I manifested Claire.
you have.
I manifested PowerWomen. I manifested this podcast. I'm serious. I manifested Claudia. I just got through telling Crystal how I manifested her. I've manifested
love
everything
this.
in my
I'm
life.
so
I
excited to
manifest.
have this
I have
discussion.
manifested
Yeah.
where I live right now, in the neighborhood that I live right now. That woo-woo is real.
I love that. I manifested
Mm-hmm.
my children and my old job, and then I forgot that I had that power. I got distracted and divorced and confused, and now we are back. My Italian adventure was an opportunity to rediscover the power of manifestation, among other things.
Please tell me that it was a whole eat, pray, love, and drink trip.
Claire, you know I only eat, pray, or love when I travel. There's no other form
Okay, good.
of travel.
I'm so glad.
It was
I'm
mostly
so glad.
So where'd you go? What'd
it
you
was
see? Who'd
mostly
you do?
eating and praying.
Yes,
I went.
the who. I want the who.
I went on a retreat that was an executive women's breakthrough leadership retreat. Because I felt as an executive woman, it would be important for me to break through in my leadership. And what took me from that would be a crazy idea to go to I've bought a plane ticket, I've paid the fee for the trip, and I'm going, is that the retreat fell over my mother's 80th birthday. And, you know, mom is in the sunset of her life on hospice with late stage Alzheimer's. So mom's here, but she's not here. She's here enough to have had her 80th birthday fall during this time. And it was like her reaching out, being like, go, my child, go to Italy, go eat, pray, and love. So I did. So I guess I manifested the trip. I manifested the trip before I even realized.
I think we manifest everything.
So, Claire, what do you think?
I don't know. I really am very open to this, and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know about it. I think there's a lot involved there with manifestation and action.
I'm surprised too. Of the three of us, Brandy Jo, I thought Claire would be the first of the three of us to talk about how she has manifested things like her incredible career, her book, her podcast. And yet You've not even begun to manifest on this journey. Watch out, world. Claire Brown is coming.
Once you start to focus.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I question and I have curiosity around manifestation versus goals versus actions versus prayer and meditation around it. And what is the difference and what does that
It's
look
the same
like?
thing.
Yes.
Well, it's not the same thing. Prayer.
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
Well, okay. So can I jump in and tell you the difference? Prayer is listening for God.
Please, I'm asking.
I'm sorry. That's not right. Prayer is talking to God. Meditation is
Okay.
listening for God. And meditation is not manifestation.
Yes.
You become what you think about. And if you think about all
Okay.
the negative and all the worry and you worry about what else to worry about, that's what
Yes.
you manifest in your life. If you always worry about never having money, you're never going to have money. So it's a mindset. It's a
Right.
it's a paradigm shift. It's a belief system
Mhm.
in yourself.
I agree with that.
But
Yes.
talking about the neighborhood I live in. So the neighborhood I live in is Monte Vista. It's all historical homes. And I would ride my Vespa through this neighborhood probably 15 years ago. It's like, I really like these homes. I really like the way this neighborhood feels. I would love to live here one day. We moved there 5 years ago. And just because I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't like put anything up on an
Yeah.
altar or worshiped or prayed for that. It's just something
No.
that I put out into the universe. And I thought to myself, it would really be nice. But then I thought, and I believed, I will live here someday. And we did. And it's just as simple as that. You just got to own what you want.
Okay.
You've got to believe that it's
But
already
if
yours.
that's the case, if
But
that's
it's not a
yeah.
but it's not a goal. It's not a goal. It's
Mm-mm.
like a deep it's a shift in your mindset to a deep belief that you can see yourself doing, being, living,
Yeah.
creating a thing,
Be, do, have.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So is
You can
that
Yeah,
see
if
it.
not
that's yeah, then yeah.
So Gayatri is that's not all you did in Italy, but I mean, we could have an entire episode on this, and I know that we're going to have an
No.
entire episode on it because you're going to get the manifesting
We're
fairy
gonna bring
godmother
Mitch
lady
on. We're
on
gonna
the
bring Mitch on,
podcast.
and our fairy godmother, can help us unpack that a little bit. No, I mean, it was I hiked with this group of executive female leaders, and we looked at our histories as individual humans. We looked at our current state as individual humans. What roles do we play? How do we play those roles? What are our values? And then we looked at what are our dreams, not our hopes, not our goals. What are our dreams?
Yeah.
Our dreams that are reflective of our deepest longings, which, I got deepest longing thrown at me, and all of a sudden, I'm like, why am I crying? I don't know, because I'm very comfortable with goals, right? Like,
Yeah.
I will do X, I will do Y. But if you come at me with a question about your deepest longing, I don't even know where to put that in my body, let alone how to react to it. Right? Right? You're like, I'm already feeling a certain, I'm feeling a way about it. Feeling a certain way about it.
So then, yes, I've manifested.
You are the embodiment of manifestation. You just
You
haven't
are,
used
Claire.
the word. Look
Right.
at
You're
your
like,
look
I
at your
want that.
wallpaper.
I'm going to go get
I
that.
know. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm manifesting right now and doing that again. I don't know if I should talk about it. Okay.
Put it out there in the
'Cause
universe.
I am in
You
that.
can do whatever you want. So while you're thinking about whether or not,
yeah, I've written a sitcom. It's going to happen, and I'll
put
be on
that out
Saturday
in
Night
the
Live. Yeah.
universe.
No,
Mostly because there's a character loosely based on me, and I want to find my way to
yes, 100%.
evening TV.
Yeah, there's a
Is
character
there
based
one
on each of
me?
you.
I don't want to be left out.
Oh yeah. No, you're not.
Please.
I have the
There's one
lesbian
on you.
Republican.
Please
that's
tell me.
a good friend. Yes, yes.
Right. So this morning I got a call
and you
from a
all
fellow
come to smoke
Republican.
pot on my back porch.
Okay. Hold on. Hold on. So I got a text.
Even though you haven't done that, but that's what you do.
I was given the nickname this morning, Les Publican. I thought that was good.
Oh, I love that.
Me
That's
too.
fantastic. Les Publican.
Yeah.
Yes. So are we getting that
beautiful.
tattooed or just the license plate? Which one?
No, just the licensing and the t-shirt, and I owe him $1 a t-shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Les Publican.
It was pretty
brilliant.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
my story that is much less deep than you guys are asking me about right now with my manifestation and my Italian Eat, Pray, Love was that I was frantically biking back to my house from downtown. And I had my AirPods in and a bug flew into my left ear because it's spring. And I was like, ah. So I hit my ear because I didn't want a bug in my ear. And when I hit my ear, my AirPod fell. So I had to stop my bike and get off my AirPod and get off my bike looking for my AirPod, looking all over the trail. I turn my bike around. I bike back a block. I slowly bike. I'm looking for it. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to be late to tape with the ladies. I have to go. I can survive with one AirPod. So I keep biking and I keep biking. And then you know what saved the day? My boobs. Because your boobs always save the day. I felt this little thing like right there in my bra. And I was like, there she is. There is the AirPod. She has fallen from my ear into my cleavage and I am keeping her safe. And I did not even stop to put it back in. I knew it was there and I just biked my way home to get online to join you to tape.
And a nice little cocoon.
Or in her. But I felt when that happened, I was like, the ladies come through. The ladies come through. I was like a little bit sad.
The girls save us every time.
The ones you carry and us.
Yes. It's a collective statement. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about last names.
Okay, let's just jump into what it is that we're actually here for.
Well, yeah, that's the topic of the day. Last names. How, there's ownership in women in our last names, or has been, and that's why we in our country have taken on last names of the male that we marry. And it hasn't always been by choice in history. And how other countries don't do that. Women take their mother's name or they keep their maiden name. And now women are choosing many different options. They're not taking on a spouse's last name. They're maintaining their maiden name. They're hyphenating their names. Even their husbands are changing their names to
They're creating names.
Yeah. And they're creating new names.
I've got a couple of friends that took their wives'
names. What do you think?
names.
What's in a last name?
Heritage, culture, tradition. That's what I think.
That is such a good elementary answer. Such a good school answer.
Elementary. I'm not taking that as a compliment.
No.
I think I think that's like the quick answer. That's not true. But then I think it goes like a couple layers deeper. Like if you think about, so my grandmother's maiden name was Ward, but it's actually Warshawski. She was Polish. And when her family immigrated, right, she gets to family gets to Ellis Island and they say Warshawski and they're like, that's far too long. We're not going to do that. Your name is now Ward. So there's history even in the fact that that was one name. Now it's this name. But does it hold the legacy and the tradition of her Polish family when it's actually no longer that name? And I don't actually even know a lot of the pieces of the history of that. I just remember being told by my mother that when I would ask about her mom's family, she'd say, well, they're Warshawskis, but when they came to America, they became Wards, not by choice. Right. So I just think there's so much in it. What are each of your last names and why? I actually, Claire, don't even know this about you. Is that your married name or your maiden name?
Brown is my married divorce name. Baxter is my maiden name. Baxter's derived from Baker. We were bakers and then came over here and it changed to Baxter. By the way, I'm a damn good baker.
Baker or
Is that where that
banker?
That's why I've got that home ec degree. Baker, like
Baker.
I'm good at the
like
dough.
You're baking. Okay, like rolling in the dough.
Yeah, both of them.
Got it.
But yeah, like the
Well,
bread.
my last name is
Yeah, like the bread.
Understood. Okay, pun intended. So my last name is Newman, and we came from England. We came from Yorkshire. Name has never been changed. Do you think that your
my last
grandmother's
name-
maiden name was changed because of social programming? Like you can't have this whatever culturally inappropriate tag on your name?
It wasn't changed voluntarily. I think there are people who have more ethnic sounding names who voluntarily shorten or change their names to sound more. I don't know what to sound different, to sound not different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in this instance, it was just changed in the immigration experience that my Polish family had, but my Indian family, what really got me going on not questioning last names, but questioning how wrapped up in the last name your identity actually gets is my last name for the majority. Well, my maiden name is Ishi, which was spelled EASY, which is literally the word easy in the US. Not a great last name for a woman. So it was written out EASSEY and pronounced Essie. And that was my maiden name until I got married. But that is my Indian grandfather's first name. So it's not a family name. It's not a last name. But in India, in southern India, where my dad was raised, the child of a father takes the last name of that father. So my father's first name is George. So I actually should have just been Gayatri George. Like that's the naming convention so that people know my identity is linked to my father. And then you have a family name that's like the name of your family. So you are Gayatri George of the family of. And then we have a long Putam Parakal is the last name in southern India, like the family name in southern India. So all that to say, my last name isn't my father's last name, nor is it my family name. And so when I got married, I was like, oh, it's finally my opportunity to take a more proper last name. So I changed my name, or a name that has legacy in someone's family. So I changed my name to Agnew. Then I got divorced 2 years ago and I was like, do I change it back or not? Right. But we're like 10 years into my journey as a professional woman. The bulk of my identity and my professional identity, my personal identity, my children's identity is linked to the last name of now my ex-spouse. So here we are.
I know,
but you
because
didn't
I don't want to be.
You didn't change yours back either, Claire. Did you think about it?
I didn't, because.
But you have a great name. You have a great brand with your name. Claire Baxter Brown.
I built that. Yeah. And growing up, my dad was very affluent and influential and all that. And so I was always his daughter. I never stood on my own. I never had my own name. I was Ray Baxter's daughter. And, so, you're his, and, so I was like, I'm so ready to get married. My name change. And so I can have my own identity. Well, you go through divorce and those are not, fuzzy, warm feelings. And it's like, I want my own identity again. I don't want to be associated with that. But then I have built companies now and a brand and all these things. And that's what I'm known for. And I've published a book, and what am I going to do?
And then what about, your kid's last name?
Yeah. They have the same last name as I do.
Right. Is that another reason that you kept the name?
But I mean, like, and I know everybody's different, but I'm not one of these that's like, I need the same last name as my kids so that they know that they belong to me, or so that people associate us together, or they don't think that I have bastard children. I don't give a shit what people think. That has nothing
Right.
to do with my last name. You can fuck off. But,
So,
and so that wasn't ever a concern of mine.
right. So let me tell
But
y'all a
what's
story.
really funny is now it's like, oh, you're Claire Brown's ex-husband. It's more his identity isn't me.
Mr. Claire Brown.
Sorry. You gonna yes.
Okay. So
I don't think you
I
have to be
have
sorry about that.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
really
we're not
not.
saying sorry ever again.
Yeah, you don't seem like
Mm-mm.
you are.
Okay, Kel. So let me tell y'all a story. I have friends. They're all white. The husband has a last name, the wife has a last name, and their son has a last name. The son has kept his name from his dad that has passed away. So when they
Oh.
passed through this, I think it was a border checkpoint. I think they were coming back from like the valley or something. And the agent that is checking all of their IDs, he's like,
Mhm.
okay, I got to know the story. And so they had to go through basically one arm of the family tree to figure out who everybody was.
Mhm.
And it's like, if everybody had the same last name, they just would have said, okay, thank you. Peace be with you. Go America. But
Mhm.
they had to question them on who they were as individuals because they all had different last names.
Right.
And I just didn't think that was fair. And Martin was actually kind of pissed off.
Oh, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I would be too. I was having a conversation with a woman at my kid's school about last names. And she was explaining to me that a family member of hers, who was female, got married, and she and the husband both changed their last names and hyphenated them.
Okay. How's
They
that?
both hyphenated the
I
names.
like that.
Yeah. But then it's not really sustainable for their children, for like the next generation. Because then, like,
No.
what am I supposed to? So, like, if like my parents had done that, then it would be, I would have been Claire Fletcher Baxter. And so then when I get married, am I still supposed to stay Claire Fletcher Baxter and then name my children, not that this is his name, but name him like Sam Fletcher Baxter Brown?
So they all sound like a law firm.
A law firm.
I mean, that's one way to go.
Yeah.
It's
Claudia and I
not
had the
hyphen's
conversation that we
not
were going to hyphenate our
sustainable.
names. No.
No, it's
It's
not
not
sustainable. So, I
sustainable.
mean, I get women, right, trying to take ownership back of a name and this and that, or not change it at all and all these things, but it's really not. A lot of the compromises or changes that they've done is really not sustainable for the next generations. And I don't understand why we can't just be like Oprah and not even need a last name.
Well, I was thinking of Cher.
Madonna.
Yes, all
Mhm.
of them.
I was just thinking about Brandy Joe ! I never
That's
use
it.
my last name.
I mean, I'll just be a symbol. I'm Prince.
My last
Can
name
I
is
wear
not
purple
used
now?
often. Oh, just a
Well, and then like in
symbol.
some African tribes, you're a sound.
Yeah, there was a
But I
lady that
think we're
told
all
me.
I think what our bitch is that somebody is trying to label us and somebody is trying to put us in a
Mhm.
box. And then
Right.
we're trying
Mhm.
to say, okay, who are we with this last name? And the
Right.
last name doesn't mean who we are.
Right?
Right.
Does it define you? I think
Well, and why does it
that
have to be the
well, it's like,
woman?
what's that?
And why does it have to be the woman?
It
There
doesn't
are
have to be. And that is actually getting to the point where I have 3 friends that they took their wives' names
Yeah.
because their last name sucked.
Yeah.
Yes. But I can tell you, I mean, I'm asking these questions very much in a lot of ways as a devil's
Mhm.
advocate, because I
Right.
can tell you personally, I truly crave to respect a man enough that I want to take his name. But then I struggle with, okay, back to the business thing. Like, okay, so am I supposed to be Claire Brown in business and then somebody else privately, you know? And then how does that work with my social security number? I don't know.
Well, so let me tell you my experience with almost marrying a man. And I don't even think it was almost because we didn't
Oh, I
even
want
set a
to
fucking
hear.
date. Okay, so I'm engaged to be married. I'm just going to say his name. I don't think I've said his name in like 20 years. Carl Dace. Okay.
I wouldn't have taken that
And
name.
right. I'm not Brandy Joe Dace. I'm not doing that.
No.
And we didn't even get to the point where I had to present any kind of a prenuptial agreement. We didn't even get to that point because my mother was like, you're not going to, you may be engaged, but you're not marrying him. That is exactly what my mother said. And my mother knew, they just know, like y'all
Yeah.
know, like I'm not a
Yeah.
mom, but y'all just know. And I didn't even think about taking his last name. I mean, we were together for 5.5 years. We were engaged for 7 months. That was not in my itinerary for how to get married to a man. That was not the thing. And I'll tell you another story. Played golf, toured around the world with Kimberly. She got married to Steven, and she about ripped the face off of the starter at a golf course when this man announced them to the first tee. We would like to have Brandy Joe Newman and Kimberly and Steve and his last name come to the first tee. And they had I think they had gotten married like 6 months prior. And Kimberly says, "That is not my name." Because she was keeping her last name.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a thing. That was like I'm not going to assume my husband's name. It was just not, it's not in her DNA. Certainly not in my DNA. I mean, I want to be Brandy Joe Newman, not Brandy Joe Newman hyphen Ramirez. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Buddy and I are not doing that. We've talked about it. And when we get like invitations to parties and it's addressed to Brandy Joe and Claudia Newman hyphen Ramirez, I just love that. But we're not going to do it officially. It makes me feel good that someone says, okay, they're together because, we are in a society where I like to have that validation that we are married, that we are together. But it has nothing to do with us taking each other's last names.
No.
Because then we would sound like a law firm.
Yes.
I think
and that's the thing. That's what I wanted to discuss. Like, is a name really that defining? Or is that something we project onto ourselves?
In some circles, it is. Like in politics, like I have a name of 55 people on a list that are supporting a candidate tonight that I don't support. And they're supporting this candidate with lots of big checks, and they're on this list. And there are a couple of generations on this list. Like the parents are going to this fundraiser, and then you see the son's name or the daughter's name, or you see the father's name and the daughter's name. And it's like, everybody knows these people. And people have turned last names into a brand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you're not wrong.
Okay.
I think, I mean, for me personally, the struggle or the question of post-divorce changing or not changing my last name is really a question about identity and acceptance. Right. So like my knee-jerk reaction was absolutely, I'm changing my name. I don't want this last name to hang around me. And but that's also kind of a really immature. Now, I think folks that want to go back to a maiden name and have deep identity in that, that's beautiful. Go on. But for me, it was like, I can't undo having been married for 9 years. I adore the children we had together who do have that last name. And oh, by the way, 5-6 years into that marriage, I ran for and got elected to public office under that name. And so there's just like layers of complexity in changing it. So speaking of how difficult it is to change your last name, I'm 11 years after having been married, gotten divorced, and having changed my name 11 years ago. I still have a frequent flyer mile account in my maiden name, which I have not been able to change despite providing documentation of a marriage and even documentation of a divorce saying, can I have it back now? And so, yeah, it's not, I mean, I think it's definitely the social emotional questions of what is in a name, but also just practically speaking, it's very difficult to change your legal name. It's very hard.
Yeah. None of
But
these men have to do
anything
this.
with the government is difficult. They don't make it easy.
Fair enough. On that, we do not disagree.
So going back to the whole branding part, like I'm sure that Gayatri, when she sees that frequent flyer program, that account, she's like, that is just annoying. But think about changing your name for branding. So John Duschendorf. Many people don't know that that's John Denver. I mean, how many songs and how many albums could he have sold with John Duschendorf?
Well, I mean, Summer's Eve would have hired him. He could have done a lot for them.
I'm just going to let y'all go with John Duschendorf.
I mean,
just took a turn at the end.
I'm just here for the Summer's Eve and the douche.
So what I hear you saying is
don't you go with the PhD.
Value
so we can.
Name
so
change.
I think we can all sit here and be all righteous in the fact that we don't need a last name, but I think we do to some degree.
I think we do.
With John Duschendorf being the great example.
Mm-hmm. Unless you all want to work for Summer's Eve, which that's probably a great endorsement. I bet they'd be a great sponsor.
I don't know what to say.
Did Summer's Eve have a jingle? Maybe our fabulous producer could have like an outro on the Summer's Eve commercial jingle.
Even John Denver was a douche. You should try to. I don't know.
There's got to be something. Maybe we can do the outro with a Summer's Eve commercial.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ended that strong. Really honest.
I think we did too.
Start with manifestation, end with Summer's Eve.
I like these. I like the threes. Sometimes I think the fours and the fives get a little much.
Well, I hope y'all have a fabulous week. And this is always an enlightening conversation. I've learned so much about manifestation and John Douche.
Douches.
John Douche. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
thank you,
Claire. Thank you, Claire, for always doing this.
Y'all too. Love you.
Love you, ladies.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes and check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.